women make up about 17% of the active workforce of gastroenterology. The pipeline is strong. 52% of medical students are women, and that split is maintained at the level of assistant professor and at kind of the junior starting levels. But it's interesting, and there is some concern, because as women progress in their careers, their relative numbers go down, they decline. And there's concern about what is causing that kind of drop off in women. The pipeline is strong, though, and so it's encouraging, and there is some more encouraging result. There are some more encouraging results. Like many other fields, women in gastroenterology have a tendency to have a pay gap in their compensation, and this has gotten a lot of press in multiple fields and not just in GI. But there have been several studies lately that have documented this pay gap, and even studies that have controlled for important things like how many hours people work, their age, their rank, and even things that are difficult to quantify, like how clinically productive they are and how productive they are in their research. So that gap is maintained. And very interestingly, the gap also changes as women proceed through the ranks. So not only do their numbers decline, but the gap grows. And so there are dynamics at play here that we really need to get a handle on if women are going to thrive in our field. So the dynamics of why this is occurring are really complicated, and I don't think we have all the answers. But there are things that the institutions can do to try to limit the effects of that gap. And there are certainly things that the AGA is motivated to do to help women clarify their role, make sure they're compensated, and thrive in our field and thrive with their home in the AGA. So from an institutional perspective, several of the things that are being looked at and institutions are responding to are things like tracking pay equity, tracking time and rank, faculty retention, things that impact perhaps pay equity. We're calling on institutions to be really responsive to and promote faculty development and professional development of women that are in practice so that women can thrive, particularly as they mature in their ranks. Mentorship and sponsorship are really big, and institutions are taking a larger role in promoting quality networking opportunities and things like that. And that is an area where the AGA has really stepped up, providing really high quality networking opportunities for women. The Women's Luncheon at DDW is a good example of that. The Women's Leadership Conference is another good example where there's not only an opportunity for networking, but a lot of leadership skills that are kind of developed and taught at that conference. So that's very important for women as they thrive in our field. So from a woman's perspective, there are things that women can do too to be sure that they have equality when it comes to compensation, being mindful of their career, and as they try to juggle all their roles. Young faculty, for example, you often have young families to take care of, so work-life balance becomes very important. But in addition, they need to keep an eye on their careers so that they publish if that's part of their role. They do research. They have other opportunities. So keep an eye on their career. Be sure that they're good mentees and cultivate mentorship of various sorts. There are many good mentors in gastroenterology of both genders, and so the AGA particularly is important for providing good foundation for mentorship for young women. And also in being sure that women are keeping an eye on things like pay equity and compensation, and that I have an open communication with their chief and the leadership at their institution so that they have they're adequately compensated for their work. So it is improving. The data shows that the pay gap has actually decreased for the first time for physicians overall. Women's salaries have increased 2% in the last year, whereas men's salaries are sort of stagnant at this point. But still, women earn about 91% of what their male colleagues earn, and that equates to about $1 for every $1.25 earned by a man. And so we want to be sure that the dynamics are considered, that institutions do everything they can to be sure that the situation is equitable and that women thrive as a result. So the AGA is an important part of that.